Ashe, Tap, peace. It's on now, man. It's on now, man. You know, they messing with the wrong one. This is one of 3 videos that I've done within the past 2 days, and before that I hadn't done anything for a while, for a long time, around almost since December 2019, I would say. My mother passed away 2020, and it affected me greatly, you know. Anyway, so with that being said, a lot of power when people that you love and close people to you, you know, they pass on, and you know, sometimes there's like a certain power or a certain force, maybe I'll say a force, you know, power, force, whatever, that you can connect with, that connects with you unbeknownst to you. You don't even know it. And these loved ones who have went, you know, they're on the other side, or whatever you want to call it, they've transcended. They are guiding you, helping you on your daily routine, your daily bait. They're doing the best that they can do, you know, from where they at, to assist you. And I believe the more awareness or the more attention that you apply to it, the more you are able to perceive with your soul, your spirit, the communication. I'm going to stick with what what I have been sticking with. Okay? And I'm going to hit them real heavy. I'm going to hit you real heavy. I am, like I've said before, you know, one of my leading, when I think about it, one of my leading inspirations, when, you know, when in doing this and continuously doing this, even though they're not even on the scene anymore, but the shit that I be on, really nobody's on. Nobody around me is on. I have no friends that I can communicate with that's on the level that I'm on, or I'm sorry, that's on the information that I'm on. And you know, we can build on things like that. There's certain things that you might can talk to somebody about, but when it comes to stuff like this, it's not happening. You know, so you have to take everything and ride with it, man. It's like you alone in this. You know, you are alone in this. You're not alone, but you are alone. As a matter of fact, that reminds me of a book that I have called Alone with Alone by Henry Corbin. I've read the book. It's probably the most amazing book that I've ever read. It's probably my favorite book. Basically, all of the books that I have that are of his, with the exception of with the exception of Ibn Arabi, Henry Corbin's books, which are based on a lot of Ibn Arabi's, as well as others works, just blows me away. All right, so it's gonna be no holds barred. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna, you know, say Ashe to the gods and the goddesses and bring power to them, and we're gonna give you some good information for your for your soul, for your DNA, for your spirit, because you know, this is like, and so what I'm trying to tell you is this relates to things. This is going to relate to everything that's going on right now. But we're not going to talk about, you know, the shit that's going on right now. We're just going to symbolically do that. All right? Basically everything that I'm going to be coming to you with, you know, it is we dealing with the now. It is now. It's happening now. We are in the season, man. And you have to understand that it's deep, yo. And I'm about to tell you something. You know, you think that melanin is like just, you know, for the people who don't really get into it. You know, they've heard Bobby talk about it. They've heard this and that person talk about it, like Africa, the doctors. You know, but man, to really, 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 really understand and to really get into it and continue. I mean, yo, this stuff, yo, is powerful. It's powerful, and for us to be walking around with these melanins popping up on our epidermis from our fifth epidermis layer, protecting us from this sun out there. You know, I think about the story between Isis and Ra, right? And when Isis basically, you know, she did her magic to get Ra's name. She I think she also poisoned him too with like snake venom or something like that. You know, trying to get his name, trying to get him to say his name, which was all symbolic. You know what I'm saying? But I think of, you know, because it was about relinquishing of power, basically. You know, but I said, damn, you know, Isis is the melanin. If she's not the melanin, she is the melanogen. She's the genesis of the melanin. You know, symbolically. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that I'm not trying to say that everything evolves around melanin, but wow, yo, we're gonna get into it. I'm showing these two pictures for a reason. Don't mean to start slow, but it's like it's just things are so deep. So 1111 is a very, very powerful number for me in my life. I have been seeing it probably for about 13 years now, maybe 12, 13 years. And when I mean seeing it, I mean I see it. I've seen it on clocks that the time is wrong, and I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? But just seeing it is something. Is one thing. But when you know, when you feel like it's like communicating with you and shit, that's a whole nother level. And it pops up in places too. You might not see the dots in between. You might just see 11 all together, but it pops up a lot. You feel me? And the number 11 itself. See, this is basically what this is 11 by 11, right? Or you just think about the sun and the moon. It's 11:11, right? You know what I'm saying? The clock, because we're dealing with the sun and the moon. The sun, moon, and stars is what the clock is. You know, you got the 12 hours. You know, the number 12. The sun is the hours, right? The 12 being the zodiac, and then you have the Earth that's doing that's turning every second, right? And then the big hand, if I'm not mistaken, is the moon. Or no, when the sun is traversing through the particular houses in the daytime, right? So it's all connected. The picture on the left here is very significant. You would think this is Ra, whatever. You can say that, whatever. But the most important part is this. This is Kepra, right? This is Kepra, and these are horsemen. Well, at least the ones that's near here. This is Heru right here. This is Heru. But Kepra means, and the one holding up the boat, I want to say this represents the god Nun. But it may also represent the deceased Osiris personified as the Nun. I'm not too sure. I've had this for a while. I forgot. But anyway. This, though, is very important. This is the boat. Row, 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 row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, merrily, merrily. Life is but a dream. This is being itself. This is Kepra pushing the. If you know about the story about the Kepra beetle, it pushes its seed in a dung ball, right? And then the seed comes out the dung ball. This is the Kepra beetle. This means to be. This is me. This is the aspect of being itself. All right. Also, Kepra is an aspect of the creator deity who was connected with Ptah. It's very deep symbology. Okay. This is highly relevant in this day and age. Okay. This basically can be a symbol for the rising of the consciousness out of the solar bark, which can be symbolized as the body, the physical body. But there's also an essential self, the essential self, the self that you really are, like the soul self, that does not die. And so, but it carries on these forms. It's like a transcendent principle of the material world, bringing it into the spiritual world. So this is one reason why you'll see your loved ones in the dream state, and they look like what they look like when you knew them. That's not to say that they can't look like anything else though. You know what I'm saying? They can be the bear in your dream, or whatever, because we're dealing with soul worlds and the symbologies of what something means in that soul world pertaining to that soul, right? You don't see the soul because you're in its world. You see what I'm saying? But everything within that world is that soul, communicating with you. You feel what I'm saying? And when you bring that down to the material world, connecting it with the spiritual side, because everything comes from the spiritual world, you have an understanding of something, because the soul is synonymous with the Christ is synonymous with the sun is synonymous with Ra, and we have the litany of Ra and the book of creations and things like that. Well, the soul is these things. It's like the soul is Ra, right? The soul is to manifest, for lack of better explanation, its own paradise. Its own paradise. Its own soul world, right? People always talking about this collective shit about, okay, so, heaven is not like a collective thing, right? And what I mean is, your heaven is going to be your heaven. Your hell is going to be your hell. His, hers, and theirs. It's going to be their heaven, their hell. Nobody shares the same heaven, paradise, whatever you want to call it, and hell. This is derived from your, some people want to call karma of past lifetimes or whatever you want to call it. This is just dealing with what your soul needs to grow, okay? And so when you trickle it down to the physical, you're like, damn, is this world real? If this is not a real world, then who are these people that's outside of me? But nobody is outside of you. Okay? Your mind is not outside of you. You know what I'm saying? And we know your brain and all that shit ain't, but we're talking about your soul connected with the spirit connected with the mind. The mind of the soul and the spirit communicating, or utilizing the mind, right? And it communicates with you. Or it's like little self, it's you communicating with yourself is what it is. You know what I mean? Little self, bigger self, macrocosm, microcosm is very deep, right? But when and so what happens is communication comes through synchronicity. Through these happenings. Something happens and then you be like, damn, that's very synchronistic. Like there's nothing is a coincidence basically. You see what I'm saying? Like I'll be thinking about my brother on my delivery route, and then I see the address, and the address is his birthday. So I say, what's up, bro? You know what I'm saying? Every time, because I feel some type of connection with it, right? And so we go to the people who make a buffoonery out of people like us. They call this shit apophenia. Here's the word apop, as the name of the god Apophis, right? So we already know that we got this as Heru. We got this by the throat. Okay? We use this. We use this, right? We know that this exists, right? But the these psychiatrists and shit, they utilize this to make you think that you crazy or something. You see what I'm saying? Here you see the list right here. Synchronicity. Don't let no clustering illusions and shit. Don't let nobody fool you in saying that just because there's a definition for something, right? They're saying that this is apophenia. It's the tendency to perceive meaningful connections between unrelated things. The term German apophanie was coined by psychiatrist Klaus Conrad in his 1958 publication on the beginning stages of schizophrenia. Now, schizophrenia, that's very important. Why? Because according to a book that I have called The Daemon by Anthony Peake, one of the didn't want to show you that yet. One of the main things that they say that the schizophrenics have, they see the world in a whole different way, and like it's almost like things are more open to them. You know what I mean? Hence driving them schizophrenic and stuff, right? Because things, what we see and perceive to be in order, you know what I mean? Like the plant in the vase sitting on the table, to a schizophrenic, it might be something completely different. It might be there, but shit, he might see an entity taking the plant out and throwing it at him. He might not see the table. He might just see the vase. You know, just anything. I'm just, you know, but this is just a way to, you know, get people who are on their Gnostic path, right? And you go out in the world and you want to tell people about your epiphanies, your aha moments, your connections with spirit, and you know, your family and your friends and all these people just basically shun you because not only are you speaking the shit that they don't know about, but you on a whole another path as well. You're not the same person that they knew you to be. You see, and you tend to just fall out of relationship with them and disconnect, and it's nothing that is your fault or theirs, right? It's just the life that we are living, and it just is what it is, man. You know, many people got their own way, you know, meanings of 11/11. You can go and Google this shit yourself, right? You know all this shit. That's on you. That's personal. I look at it as personal. I did not know anybody was seeing 11/11 until I looked it up. Well, actually, what happened was I was in a bookstore and I came across a book called 11/11 Time Prompt, and that's what blew me away. But anyway, we have the number 4 as well. Okay, I didn't want to get too deep in that. I just wanted to get you to understand that I'm about to get real heavy on some things. I'm going to end this video because we was talking about 11, right? And this does have to do with 418, right? This does have to do with your melanated molecule, your melanin, all right? Because we're dealing with clock, we're dealing with time, we're dealing with chronology, and your pineal pituitary, your melatonin, serotonin, it's all affiliated with this 11 a.m., 11 p.m. But anyway, to end this video, I'm going to read something to you from, and I'm gonna tell you, I told you we're gonna get deep. I've been studying this shit for over 10 years, and I'm gonna hit you with some shit that's deep. I don't know if I want to go ahead and get at you with the shit that I'm on now, or just slowly come at you with the shit that I got going on. But it's all, I've already talked about it, really. But it's just I'm just gonna come with more and more books and information, because reading is very, very important. Okay, here's the book called The Nightside of Eden by Kenneth Grant. You heard this come out the mouth of Bobby Hemming in one of his lectures. If you don't want to look at these are personal notes. All right, 11 is a very powerful number for me, right? But as you know, in the Kabbalah, on the tree, or you know, the diagram of the Kabbalah, the celestial, the circles, what the hell are they called? Hold on one second. Okay, I had to pause. I had to sit down and close my eyes. I'm tripping, like, yo, what the fuck? The Sephirah, okay, the 10 Sephirah. The 11th Sephirah I look at as, and I have seen authors call it the 11th Sephirah, but it's really not on the tree. It is, but it's not. It's the hidden Sephirah of the tree that gets you on the other side. This is called Daf, and I relate that to 11:11, within, without. All right. So He's dealing with the number 11 is what it is. Alright, so we're going to get on this real quick. Here we go. And as you can see, we're going to get into these articles and these books here that I got on the side. So you are getting a sneak peek at some things here. The 11th letter, Kaf, begins a new series of numbers and is, in its most occult sense, not only the number of magic but also of Dath. There we go. The 11th power zone. He's calling the Sephiroth the power zones. That is considered to exist in a dimension altogether different from the 10 manifest power zones or Sephiroth. There you go. It is in the oblique dimension that exists the 6 letters Kaf to Pi or Pe, which form with the primal 10. The 16 secret collars, you get into that, of the Ophidian current. Kaf means the palm of the hand. The word palm is in relation to the palm tree. The palm tree is in relation to the Sufi symbol of the number 7. Kaf means the palm of the hand, and Pe means a mouth. The magical formula associated with the inner game of hide and seek, which Kether plays through the primary veils of subject and object, Chokma and Bina or Bina, the nexus of which is located in Dot. The case of the cause of the mystery, glamour, or ignorance, as the Buddhists call it, is the initial and mistaken identification of the self with its objects. Okay, this is caused mainly by the fact that, as the Kabbalists claim, Kether is in Malkut, and Malkut is in Kether. Malkut is the 10th Sephiroth, but after a different manner. The presence of Kether in Malkut creates an illusion of reality in all objects. The presence of Kether in Malkut creates an illusion of reality in all objects. This glamour engenders sentience, which bewilders and drowns the self in delusion. Sri Ramakrishna composed and sang many hymns of surpassing beauty to this world-bewitching Maya, or magic play, of glamour and illusion, generated in the sense of humanity, which mistakes the unreal for the real. Okay. Okay. Kether is in Malkuth but veiled. Malkuth is in Kether, unveiled, but after a different manner. Kether is the focus of cosmic consciousness, and its first manifestation is light. The Ain, which is its source, is not darkness but absence of light, and therefore the true essence of light. Kether is the infinitesimal point in space time at which absence of light becomes its presence by turning the void, Ain, inside out. Kether and the resulting tree of life may therefore be conceived as the interior of the void manifesting in space, which is the menstruum of light. That's very key. It's beautiful. In the microcosm, this is light manifested as... Okay, now, before I continue, if anybody tell you... Okay, don't listen to people telling you about, you know, Kenneth Grant, Alice Crowley, da-da-da-da-da. Go into this shit yourself and study it yourself, okay? All of that shit was put out there as propaganda to keep you away from the knowledge that is yours, all right? This is your knowledge that you are to eat, like the melanin eats the light, and transform it, yo. Shit. Here we go. What was that? So, in the microcosmic, this light manifests as the light of the consciousness that illumines form. In the microcosm, this light manifests as the light of consciousness that illumines form. It is the light by which and in which a thought can be visualized in the darkness of the mind. Okay, I gotta read this one more time. This is just crazy. So, in the microcosm, this light that he's referring to, okay, this menstruum of light, this manifests as the light of consciousness that illumines form. Okay, this is this form. It is the light by which and in which a thought can be visualized in the darkness of the mind, as dreams appear in the darkness of sleep. Understand this, okay? You have to understand this, y'all, because the shit that we're gonna get into later is the key. Now, I want to say the word now, but maybe I should wait. I don't know, because maybe it's in here somewhere. So, in the celestial sphere, consciousness manifests as physical light, the sun. In the mineral kingdom, it manifests as gold. Biologically considered, it is the phallus which perpetuates the seed of light consciousness in the animal kingdom. These lights are one light, Keter, and they proceed from an infinite absence of light, Ain. As it pours through Keter, it is split into three. I wonder if this, okay. Well, let me just continue. As it pours through Keter, it is split into three rays, which form the three supernal branches of the tree. These have three pylons, Chokma, Da'at, and Mina. These concentrating 16 kalas, which, with their reflection in the world of antimatter, the Ain, constitute the 32 paths of kalas, or 32 paths or kalas of the tree of life. So the paths are also called kalas. Darkness is absence of light, an absence that makes possible the presence of all that appears to be. Non-being, of which the symbol is darkness, is the source of being. Remember your books, the New Testament, in the beginning. Remember your book, the Old Testament, Genesis. All right? You can read them shits yourself. And between these two terminals is a solution, de continuit, represented by the abyss, which separates the nominal world of Keter, with its twin terminals, from the phenomenal world of Malkut. The precise point of discontinuit is marked by the pylon of Da'at in the midst of the abyss. Da'at is knowledge of the phenomenal world reflected downward through the tunnels of Set at the back of the tree. Remember Set, ancient god, Soot. Remember that, because we have not left, or nor are we going to leave, Melanin at the back of the tree. This knowledge, or Da'at, is the death of the self. It represents the primary stage at which the cerements are woven about the mummy that enters Amenta in the desert of Set. Is this synonymous with the Christ on the cross? It represents the primary stage at which it appears on the front of the tree as the apparently living semblance of the ego, with which it identifies itself on its gradual descent into matter, Malkut. It's Mal, okay? Remember the Mal. Its awakening to mundane consciousness is in reality a sleep and a death from which the original principle of consciousness may be salvaged only by traveling the paths of Amenta in reverse. This backward journey through the tunnels of Set commences in the Tuat, the preliminary passage or 32nd path that leads back from Malkut, mundane consciousness, to the astral sphere of Yesud. Knowledge of the phenomenal world, is it not the experience of life itself? That is my note there. Are the tunnels of Set time itself? Oriental traditions have typified this descent of consciousness in terms of the three states of Shushupti: sleeping, Svabda, dreaming, and Jagrat, wakefulness, consciousness, and their reintegration in a fourth state, Turaya, which is not really a state at all, but the substratum of the other three, and the only real element in those three. Turaya or Turiya equates with Keter, undifferentiated consciousness. Sushupti equates with Dat, Svapna with Yesud, and Jagrat with Malkut. This scheme matches the Kabbalistic doctrine. The state of deep and dreamless sleep, Sushupti, is a state in which mind is not conscious of the objective or phenomenal universe. It is void in the sense that it is empty of thought, i.e. images, or in parentheses images, and dark in the sense that within it light is absent. Sushupti merges into Svapna, the state of subjective objectivity, or dreaming. Wow, dreaming, subjective objectivity. Okay, wow. Because Keter creates in the void of Sushupti a stress that manifests as vibration. This stress is mirrored in the dream world. Yesud. Okay, here we go. He's calling the dream world Yesud. So when we go to Kabbalah and study this shit, we're gonna be in some goodness. Okay, as sentience latent in the microcosmic power zones, i.e., or in parentheses, chakras, as sentience latent in the microcosm power zones. Wow, let me repeat the sentence because I repeated the shit. This stress is mirrored in the dream world, Yesud, as sentience latent in the microcosmic power zones, chakras, in which it assumes elemental forms of ether, fire, air, water, and earth. In other words, this vibration manifests as the six senses, which in turn are projected as objective phenomena in the wakeful state, Jagrat, Malkut. In this manner, one state or world consciousness merges into another. Similarly, one state or level of cosmic consciousness develops and evolves into another until the original principle of consciousness is objectified with increasing density. In this manner, the world of name and form appears to the ego, the pseudo-subject, as reality, while in actual fact, reality withdraws as the principle of consciousness recedes and returns to the point of its original absence. I hope y'all holding on. We haven't left Melanin. We haven't left the number 11. All right. Dad is the ego, is the shadow Shakti, or veiling power of Keter at the lightning swift moment of its bifurcation into Chokma, subject, and Bina, or Bina, object. Say it how you want to. The ego is a shadow. This is very key. The ego is a shadow. Don't you understand? Understand this right here, y'all. The ego is a shadow. This means that the world that you're living in right now is the shadow realm. You know? Just want you to think on that for a minute. It's the shadow realm. And we, out of the 12 zodiacs, we are in the 6 lower, and the 6 lower are the lower personality or personality, and the 6 higher are the higher personality or the higher self. Okay? So he says this: the ego is a shadow, but it is the shadow of reality. It is impossible to express this concept in the language of duality. Reality is non-being, and the ego is the reflection or reverse of reality in the waters of the abyss. But not only is this image, or is the image reversed, it is also inverted. Okay? Because it's like it's like something looking in the water. Okay? And it's being inverted basically, but it's still mirroring itself. But not only is the image reversed, it is also inverted. In terms of the draconian tradition, the ego is the mirage that appears in the desert of Set. The exaltation of the ego in Dath, and its claim to be the crown, is the blasphemy against Godhead, and those that set up this false idol have been called the Black Brothers. By this act they banished themselves to the desert of Set for the duration of an aeon, or, if profoundly committed to the averse hierarchy, they may maintain this shadow sovereignty for an aeon and an aeon and an aeon, an entire kalpa, or a great cycle of time. Wow. The false king endures until the kalpa is terminated by a Mahapralaya. Such black brothers should not, however, be confused with the black brothers whose idol is not the ego, but a certain secret head of a truly averse hierarchy that resumes all the 777 paths at the back of the tree. Elivis Levi, hinted at this hierarchy in terms of black magic, and of the Baphometic head, alight with the sulfur of hell, and adored of the Templars, or loved by the Templars. Another adept who had a glimmering of this negative hierarchy was H.P. Blavatsky, yet her gargantuan struggle to draw through the veil some intimation of its dark mysteries ended only in the massive confusion of her two monumental works. He's basically referring to the massive amounts of work that she did. Perhaps the Isis she sought to unveil was not the Isis of nature manifest in matter, but the new Isis of the unnatural, of antimatter, with its void of being and black holes in space. Before exploring the tunnels of Set, we have to establish the fact that the mysteries of non-being, although not interpreted in ancient times in the way in which we interpret them today, were nonetheless regarded as possessing a significance that was both vital and menacing. This is the more surprising since it is only within the past 50 or so years that these obscure matters have been illumined by astonishing discoveries in the realms of nuclear and subnuclear physics and psychology, none of which had been demonstrated scientifically when Kabbalistic doctrine has been evolved. You have to look up yourself, Google, when this book came out. I have it, but I'm not going to do that right now. This is The Nightside of Eden, Kenneth Grant. A little bit more to go here. The interior dimension of non-being can be illumined by the blinding radiance. Let me start. Here we go. The interior dimension of non-being can be illumined by the blinding radiance liberated by sexual energy discharged in connection with certain techniques of Typhonian magic, in which preconceptual energy is seized by the most tenuous tentacles of consciousness as it seeps through the veil of the void from the trans-plutonic Ain beyond Kenneth. Jack Parsons, y'all. Jack Parsons and the rocket ship. Alright. An examination of Dion Fortune's version of the cosmic doctrine reveals a similar reluctance, or perhaps a genuine inability to unsee the issue, which is the magic of light. That's 50, that's, that's 50, 65, I think, LVX, yo. Concerns, now if that is 65, that's amazing, because that's 11. So if anybody can hit me up in the chat or in the comments, does LVX Roman numerals mean 65? So, concerning neither white nor black magic, but an occult current that, as Austin Spare correctly assumed, vibrates in the spaces between, in the interstices, I don't know how to say that, interstices, so to speak, of spiritual spacelessness that exists in a necessarily timeless void behind or somewhere outside the tree. If doth, the number of which is 11, be counted in with the remaining 4 Sephiroth of the middle pillar, the number 37 is obtained. This is a prime number signifying the full manifestation of the magical current symbolized by Set or Shaitan. That which was known to the Kabbalists as the Tree of Death was in fact the other side of the Tree of Life, and the Qliphoth, where demonic forces, right, the shells that remain afterwards, the anti-powers concealed in the tunnels of Set, that formed the interior network and reverse reflection of the paths. The insolent dogs are, in a very special sense, the dogs of reason, i.e., God, mentioned in Al, chapter 2, verse 27. I believe that's the works of Aleister Crowley. It might be Kenneth Grant's works. I'm sorry. The ascription of the dog to the infernal realms derives from Egypt, where the jackal or desert fox is the typical denizen of the abyss. Both these animals being totems of Set, that is Anpu or Anubis. I'm not going to get into that. The symbolism illuminates chapter 2, verse 19. Is a God to live in a dog? No, but the highest are of us. Dog, which is the word God in reverse, indicates the pylon of Thoth, through which the dog of reason enters the abyss and perishes. A God is not to live in a dog, but the highest are of us. The highest is the height represented by the 8th head of the serpent that dwells in the abyss. The highest are of us, implying that there are 3 others, the supernal or highest triad of the tree, consisting of Keter, Chokmah, and Bina, together with the 8th or height. These 3 form 11. Alright? Now listen. The goddess Nut, who is not, proclaims in chapter 1, verse 60, my number is 11, as all their numbers who are of us. The melanin, I don't know how to say it. It's the melanin molecule. It's the numbers for them. They're 5 and 6. We're going to get into that, show you that sooner or later. Maybe I can do it real quick here. I'm trying to end the video though. Here we go. So where was I at? 11 is the number of magic or energy. Okay. These words supply the key to the mystery of the 8 and the 3, or the 1 and the 3. For the serpent, 8 and 3 is 11, and then 1 and 3 is 4, which you break that down into 4 ones. For the serpent is 1, although it has 8 heads. 11 is the number of magic or energy tending to change. Okay? Now, I'm pretty sure that we've heard Bobby Hemmett talk about how melanin is like it's like chaotic. It's like forever. We change. We are like melanin personified. But to get back to the melanin cannot be tied down. It's always moving. It's all, you know what I'm saying? We have to get into the books to get to I don't want to be skeptical on this right now or just be saying shit. But melanin is what's going on with this right here right now. Okay, this is what it's all about. The great work and everything. Here we go. Thoth is the only point in the tree that gives access to the world of Nut. The word us in both verses is Kabbalistically equal to 66, which is the mystic number of the Qliphoth and of the great work. Here then is a key to the real meaning of the Qliphoth, which has eluded Kabbalists and occultists alike. For few have fathomed the function of the Qliphoth in relation of the great work. But when it is realized that the world of shells, okay, there it is, the remaining shells, comprises the reverse side of the tree, it is possible to understand why it has been regarded as wholly evil. See that in I want to say some things. I'm going to wait. The Qliphoth, we're almost done. The Qliphoth are not only the shells of the dead, but more importantly, they are the anti-forces behind the tree in the negative substratum that underlies all positive life. As in the case of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the title of which signifies its precise opposite, i.e., the book is called the coming forth by day. All right. The title of which signifies, so also the Jewish tree of death is the nominal source of phenomenal existence. So also the Jewish tree of death is the nominal source of phenomenal existence. Wow. Okay. It is the latter that is false, for the phenomenal world is the world of appearances, as its name implies. The nominal source alone is, because it is not. Once this truth is grasped, it becomes evident that the ancient myths of evil, with their demonic and terrifying paraphernalia of death, hell, and the devil, are distorted shadows of the great void, the Ayin, which persistently haunt the human mind. These mysteries are explained in Kabbalistic terms by the number 66, which is the sum of the series of numbers from 1 to 11. Wow. Shit. 66 is the number of the word LVL, which means to twist or go round to the other side of the tree. As already noted, humanity is booked for a turn round the back of the tree during the Aeon of Zayin. This is the Aeon that will have no word, because it is the Aeon of the anti-logos, which will be lived in the realm of the dog, which is a symbolic way of denoting the backside of the tree. Furthermore, Zayin is connected with the twin symbolism of Gemini, and a sword denoted the woman, or cleaver in twain, as shown in the 8th key of the tarot. This key contains also the formula of love through polarization, for in the Aeon of Zayin, humanity will have transcended the illusion of time and space, having understood the nominal basis of phenomenal existence. According to occult tradition, man will achieve the final initiation by fire before the final closing or withdrawal of the present Mahakalpa. 66 is also the number of DNHBH, the name of a city of Edom, which is the shadow of the city of the pyramids, Bina in parentheses, in the desert of Set. Looks like the letter Shin in Hebrew. Its pylon, dot, is the shrine of the sacred head, the 8th, which the 8th is the octave, which represents the 7 transforming into the 8th and beginning a new octave. So we're dealing with transcendence, all right, but we're also dealing with the transcendence of matter. We're also dealing with something that is called the light of glory, and it is personal, all right. Let me continue to read. All right. Which the Templars adored under the image of Baphomet, the god of the 8th-fold name Octinomos. Oct means 8. Crowley assumed the god form of Baphomet as head of the OTO. 8 plus 3, the supernal triad, constitutes the sacred 11. He's referring to the 7 plus the Doth plus the supernal, right? Which is amazing because that goes back to the 11. The number of those who are of us. Us, this, wait a minute, okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. This is where I was getting. So 8 plus 3, the supernal triad, constitutes the sacred 11. Constitutes the sacred 11. The number of those who are us. Us, 66, is also the number of Alhik, or Alhik, which is interpreted in Deuteronomy 4:24 as the Lord thy God is a consuming fire. It can be demonstrated that this fire is the fire snake or Ophidian current. 66 is the number of Gilgal, GLGL, a will or whirl, and it is instructive to note that the Hindu tradition of the chakras or wheels of force confirms the Egypto-Chaldean interpretation of the mysteries of God. And I'm going to end it on that note because to continue might be futile. So, well, you know, to continue would take forever. All right. So hitting you heavy with it. Okay. What we have to understand is Kether and Doth, and the connection on how that Kether spark in Doth through with Chokmadbina. You know, there's something going on with there's a Hebrew word called tikkun. Okay, something going on with that. There's something going on with the jet pillar of Osiris. All right, this is all in connection with your spinal column and your chakras, your endocrine glands, your central nervous system, the DNA, and the melanin, all personifying the great work. And we're going to get deep into that. Okay. The point here being that 11 is literally 11 reversed, but it looks like a mirror. It's 11 mirrored. It's the number 4. It's 11 high, 11 low. The 2 dots in between are symbolic of something as well. All right. We have the number 22. That's very powerful because we have what is known as the 2021 tarot cards. There's the arcana, and then there's the rest of them. But the arcana is 0 through 21, which equals 22. That's 11. Okay. We'll get into that. It's just a lot, right? Just a whole lot, man. Let's deal with something there. Yeah. All right. So, just wanted to hit y'all with some shit. Kenneth Grant, number 11. We're gonna come back heavy with some more shit. Carl Jung talked a lot about synchronicity. It reflects the projection of its own thoughts. You know, if you desire yourself, you produce the divine sun in your embrace with yourself. You know, we're dealing with what Carl Jung, I believe, took from the workings of you know, Henry Corbin and those that came before Henry Corbin, and that is active imagination, active intelligence, okay, and dealing with the soul. Okay, we're going to get into that. All right. Hence, here's a whole thing on active imagination. That was a technique that I did. All right. Here's a whole section on melanin. You know, well, no, that's not a whole section. Yeah, yes, it is. This is a whole section on melanin. We're gonna come back on. I did a video on this. Melanin means black amino and is a colored pigment composed of a hydrocarbon chain which has various amino nitrogen-based compounds attached to it. It is carbon that gives melanin its blackness. Carbon is the organizing molecule that gives melanin its structure. It is carbon that gives melanin the ability to absorb energy and bind with other molecules while retaining stability and coherence. And this is the website that's from. Alright. Rhythm Phoenix. Divine mind, divine thought, divine speech, mind, thought, action. Amun, Atun, Kapara, Ashe.